Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. Today we have 3 replays to show you in the brand new Tier 9 American Premium Tank Destroyer, the Night Stalker. Now this is the brand new Halloween tank, and it is available in the store for 14,500 gold, which is quite a lot of gold to be asking. But what I'm going to do for you today is just briefly go over the tank before we get into the gameplay, where we'll basically show off what the tank can do and explain a little bit further about the tank as the replays progress. But I'll just quickly just explain the tank before we get into those replays. So what is this tank? It's a Tier 9 American Tank Destroyer, but it is a rocket tank destroyer. You basically have a 6-shot auto-loading firing rocket gun. Now they basically fire the rockets and they sort of go in a straight line from your barrel. It's not like in the Cold War, not that I play that mode, where you can have sort of the auto lock on rockets. They basically just go in a direct straight line. Now, the rockets, when they work, can be frightening. The DPM on this tank with my crew setup, which I will show you in the video later on, is about 4,755 at my current setup, which is absolutely insanely high for a Tier 9 tank destroyer. But that's its effective DPM. Not all your rockets are going to hit, so you're not always going to get that actual DPM, but it is kind of insane. You've got this 6-shot autoloader rockets where you've got a 2-second interclip reload and a 14-second reload for your clip, which you're just not out of the fight for long at all. You've got a top speed in this tank of 48 kilometers an hour, which is pretty decent for a tank destroyer, and you can get to that top speed pretty quickly. 10 degrees of gun depression, so you can really work the ridge lines quite well. It does have a limited sort of turret, so it's got a yaw limit of 105, so you can't rotate the turret all the way. You've got fantastic concealment. I think I've got the concealment down with my current build to 269. And then you have on the rockets 280 pen on the standard rounds with 580 shell velocity, so it is a very slow shell velocity, so you really have to aim and lead those shots well. And then you on the premium, you have 330 penetration with 605 shell velocity. So it's one of those tanks where, you know, I do in this video fire full premium because you don't have any disadvantage really apart from the cost. But if you're like me and you've got unlimited silver, that's not too much of a problem, so you probably will see that a lot. Because the rockets, what I'm trying to explain is, it's not like AP or heat, you know, they're basically exactly the same except for they've got a higher pen, and the premium's got more shell velocity as well. And then you've got the final rockets, which has 400 alpha and 53, and their penetration, that's basically like your HE rockets, if you like. The rockets basically work as a heat shell, so it will get absorbed sometimes in spaced armor and on, you know, destructible terrain. You can't shoot through that. And yeah, this tank can be frightening. The biggest issue this tank has is the fact that, I don't know if this is a bug, I think it well could be, but when you're shooting your rocket, you need to shoot below your aiming reticle, because if you shoot dead at your aiming reticle, the shot will miss. It basically always goes below it, and that can be a bit tricky at the moment when you're trying to hit weak spots. It can be very, very difficult because it's really hard to gauge where your rockets are actually going to go. So I don't know if that is just a bug, but that is how it is, and you probably will see that in the video. If you can adjust to that though, this tank can be frightening. One thing I should also mention, which before we get into the gameplay, is because of the rockets, they're not affected by any accuracy stats. So your accuracy stats are kind of irrelevant when you're looking at your stats. And what that means is you don't have to waste time trying to put crew setups to increase your accuracy. It's a waste of a perk. And it does free up a lot of perks, basically. So you do a bit more customizable build because, like I say, accuracy is irrelevant on the rocket. You fire the rocket and that's where it just goes in a straight line. But that's enough of me rambling on, because I have been rambling on for a long time. Let's just get into the replays and you can see how this tank gets on. Okay, so on to the first replay here on Kasserine, where it is a Tier 10 matchmaking, but there was a lot of Tier 8s and 9s. Now, if you want to see the equipment and crew setup, you will see that at the bottom of the video as I speak now. Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the start, as I was rambling for quite a long time, is it has 320 alpha, which is probably important to say, with, you know, a potential clip value on average of 1,920, which is, like I say, frightening if all those shots hit. Now the armour on this tank is pretty effective, I'd say, against tier 8s and 7s. It's very effective, but when you're playing hull down, it can be quite good. But what I would say with the armour is don't rely on it, because when you start fighting tier 9s and 10s with good penetration, so if they start fighting heat, they'll be able to go through your turret pretty well. It also has a 15% fire chance, so you can get set on fire quite a lot, so that's something to be wary of. Now let's just get on to the replay and you'll just see exactly how this tank goes on. So initially on Kasserine, we've pushed to this position here to see if we can get any cross shots on. Like I say, we were good on the ridge lines because we've got 10 degrees of gun depression, but one of the problems is you just have to aim lower than you actually want to aim, essentially. So you have to aim below the tank, and you will see that in this video as we go through. Now I'll see if I can get some shots into that Tiger 2 there. I can't really get the shots I want to right now, especially with this E6 there. It's a little bit awkward behind the rock. But that E6 is getting shot at by Armour by the looks of it, and it looks like he's going to run from that position, so I don't necessarily have to worry about that angle now, which does free up me to get some shots into this Tiger 2 or this M103. Like I say, the slow shell velocity means you really need to be quite close. Now I am actually aiming just below the lower plate there, because I've got 330 heat pen. Even if I hit the upper plate, which it was a lot of times, then I'm just going through it. We actually managed to get a shot into the cupola there, and we started this game pretty well with 1 kill, 800 damage, and we still got all our hit points. But as you can see on the mini map here in the bottom left here, a lot of the tanks are pushing the low ground, and I want to try and get into that fight and try and get the damage as quickly as we can. I'm going to take the gamble here of making this cross and hoping I don't get shot, just because I know if I make this cross, I'm putting those tanks in the bottom in a really, really awkward position now, because now I've got this extra angle and they're no longer safe. Once I come around this side, I'm going to be able to butcher these tanks, butcher this machine. But an enemy F3005 gets spotted, and I get a nice shot. And you see, as I was aiming, I was actually aiming for the floor, not the tank, and it was going up above it, because I've kind of adjusted at this point to shooting this tank. Now, at this point, I've got on this machine, I've got lots of shots to the side of the turret, and you can see how quickly I just put damage into that tank, so quickly. And then look at the reload, the reload, you're just not out of the fight at all, and you're just almost reloaded again. So like when this tank works, when you're hitting those shots, it is filthy because you've got so much damage. Like, I have had fun playing it, to be honest with you. You can see here, look, this is what I'm aiming low. I'm aiming at the floor. So that's what you need to do. Always aim below where you want to hit, basically. So aim lower than you actually think you need to, and that's how it is at the moment. Like I say, if maybe that's a bug, or not necessarily a bug, just how the mechanic works at the moment. I don't know if that's by design, but that is how it is currently. So I'm going to look to try and get some shots in this M103 here. Looking to shoot the side of his turret. As you see, I'm always aiming lower than I want to aim. I should really be aiming lower here, because it's, I'm penning because I've got 330 heat and I'm going through the superstructure. But I always want to aim a little bit lower, because it can be awkward trying to hit them weak spots. But already I'm on 3,000 damage, 2 kills, but this game is, going very, very quickly. The pace of this game is fast, and I need to get moving to get damage in. Should be able to absolutely butcher this M103 here, trying to finish him off, and he gets taken out by the Badger, and there's only 6 tanks remaining now. I've got 3 shots in the clip. Maybe I should have reloaded and gone for a full clip to kill this Progetto, but I felt like he might get taken out by our friendly team quickly, so I just want to get those 3 shots in. This Progetto's close enough that we're not going to have to worry about missing him, and we put him onto a 1 shot there, putting us onto 4,700 damage, 2 kills and 1,800 blocks. You can see you can bounce quite a lot of shots, in this tank. The armour can be effective, but just don't rely on it, because it's one of those ones where you're fighting those sort of higher premium, and you're going to go through it. So don't always rely upon it, but it can work, is what I'm trying to say. Now, at this point, I don't think we're going to get any more damage in this game. There's 2 tanks remaining, and it's just been a complete whitewash for our team here. And it's, but we did well just to keep up with the damage in this game, because it was over so quickly. We only lost 2 tanks, and you can see the mobility of this tank, pretty decent for a tank destroyer. It's like sort of average medium tank mobility, which is good for a tank destroyer, especially which has armour. And yeah, that is it for replay number 1. But we got 2 more replays to come. So how do we get on in this one then? We got 2 kills, just shy of 5,000 damage, and pick up the 2nd class. At this point, the first class is set, the aces is set really high because it's probably based on one of the top tank destroyers because it's only just come out. So let's move on then to replay number 2 and see how we get on. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2 on Province. Now this time we are top tier, and this tank, when you're a top tier and you're fighting tier 8s and 7s, is an absolute beast because they struggle to pen you, and you can just put out so much hurt into those tanks. You're not going to struggle to pen them. Even with the standard rounds of 280 penetration, you're not going to struggle to pen them. So like, it's a top tier monster. Like, it's not as effective when you're fighting tier 10s, obviously, but when you are fighting top tiers, it is crazy. So this one is a top tier game. Now, one Province encounter, we've got the preferred spawn for this tank because we don't really want to be fighting at range, and we want to be able to try and push up into this hill on the right and hope as many team have also pushed up, and then we can get into a fight at close range. Because when you try and fight at range, you've got that shell velocity. Even though you've got really good concealment, which tank does have, you don't necessarily want to always be fighting at range because it's going to be difficult to hit your shots, but especially when you've got to adjust for the reticle issue at the moment. So we're going to push up. We're just seeing what's spotted, and there is another Night Stalker here already taking the high ground. Now he's just dumped his clip, but he's just dumped a lot of his shells. He's probably on reload, but at the time I actually get there, because the reload's so quick, it will always be on reload. But if he dumps his clip into our friendly medium tank here, we're going to be able to push forward, and he is very isolated by itself, so we want to try and get through and get some shots in. Looking to get some shots in, but we are struggling to pen him at that angle. He's also struggling to pen us, and I probably should just poke right up and get aggressive on this tank, to be honest with you, and just try and take him out, because I really want to just get him out of this situation. Always remember, you need to aim lower than where you really want to. Okay, so he's now a 2-shot to us, but we are on reload, and we've noticed a 57 heavy coming around the background, and this tank we can absolutely butcher. He unfortunately is killed our friendly AT-60, but we really want to take him out. We put him onto a 1-shot, but we don't chase him because we don't want to we haven't forgotten about this tank here, and we don't want to get taken out by him. Thankfully, we were able to take him out without losing too much hit points because obviously he was low health from earlier. And we're already on 1,700 damage and 1 kill, so a good start to the game. Finish off this T-77 heavy, picking up our 2nd kill of the game. Now, a lot of the enemy tanks are on the other side. We're not worried about getting capped out because look at where the circle is. I think we're going to be, it's going to be pretty easy for us to get the resets. It's also encounter, and we've got a lot of time. You've got 3 minutes 25 at the moment, so I'm not worried about the cap. What I do want to do is try and clear out the sort of B899, see if there's any more tanks there. We have 1 tank with us, 1 heavy tank. We are losing the game at the moment, but I'm not completely panicking just yet. We spot a enemy tier 7 Italian tank. We're trying to get a few shots in. At this point, I don't know if he's by himself or not. I have no idea how many tanks are there. I know there can't be that many just because there's a lot of tanks on the other side. We get a couple of shots into him blind there. Now we're on reload and we do ricochet a shot. We're going to just try and move in and take out this enemy Italian tank. I'm moving this rock, so I've got a bit of cover, got a bit of wide angle here. But then we spot an enemy G-Saw. Now, I do have to be concerned about the G-Saw because he can put out a lot of hurt really quickly. I really want to kill this tank, and now I'm surrounded by the bog horror. I'm going for the lower plate, but I don't know why I'm wasting all these shells at this lower plate because I could just do this and shoot there, which would have been a lot easier. I've kind of wasted time. And I've now got a Challenger and this Italian medium and a G-Saw to worry about. I'm thinking the G-Saw's probably on reload, and I need to get rid of this Italian tank, but he's kind of darting around this rock, making it really awkward for me to try and fight 3 tanks, 3 angles at once. We get 1 shot into the Challenger and damage his ammo rack, which is good. Hopefully at least it's burned his repair kit. I'm just trying to get rid of this Italian tank as quickly as I can because I don't want him to keep circling us. Unfortunately, I'm now in the open for the G-Saw, but I am bouncing a lot of shots here. This is just not really ideal. Have to get rid of this medium because otherwise if it gets behind us, I'm going to die. Thankfully I do. Now that's giving my chances of survival a lot higher. Although I'm losing a lot of hit points for this Challenger, I should be able to get into cover here. Now what The real problem is if this G sort of advances on us. But I've got a feeling by the way he was playing, and he was sort of in the sort of B8 area, that he's not necessarily an aggressive player, which does give me a little bit more time. So I'm just trying to reverse back. If this G source spots us, I'm just going to drive straight into this rock for cover. But I'm just pulling back so I don't have two angles on me if I can, because the concealment you see is really good. Challenger moves, and we manage to get a couple shots in, and then the G-Saw we know where the location are, so that's good. They're both in the same corner now, so rather than having to worry about multiple angles, both of the shots are coming from the same place, which makes my life easier. I'm going to use this rock to cover me from the G-Saw and try and kill the Challenger, which I do blind there. Picking up the 4th kill, putting us into 4,000 damage with 3,000 blocked. So having a really good game. It's now 6 versus 4. We're taking advantage. I think I'm kind of just 1v3 there, 1v4 there at one point, and our heavy tank hasn't moved to help us yet, which would be nice if he would have just moved in and helped us. G-Saw's bounced 2 now. He's only got 2 left in this clip. Put him on 2 or 2 shot. Now he's probably only got 1 left in this clip, and we managed to finish him off with ours. Picking up the 6th kill and putting us under 5,600 damage with 2 kills remaining. Now we know where one of the enemy tanks are. They are in the cap circle, so we are just going to dart forward. Like I say, trying to cap out on encounter is probably not the smartest of moves, because you're just sat in the open to get shots in. He's just behind a rock, unfortunately. I'd love to be able to pick up this kill to get the 7th kill, but I'm just going to have to move in and try and get closer. I feel like my friendly team are probably going to get there before I can, and they do. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, because I'm just going to spoil alert, I just don't find this tank. I go all over the map trying to find him, and I just never find him. I have no idea where he is, and I'm not going to make you sit here for 8 minutes while I try and find this tank. I was desperately trying to find him because I wanted to get the Devastator's medal, but yeah, he was a ghost. I just couldn't find him. So let's move on to the scoreboard and see how we got on. Okay, so there we go. We did get the win by capping, and we get 6 kills, 5,500 damage, 4,400 blocked. Shame we couldn't have got the Devastator by finding that last tank and getting some more damage out of it. But we do have a good game, and it kind of shows how filthy this can be when you are top tier. So let's move on to the final replay of the video. Okay, so we are on for the final replay, and we are on Redshire Team Destruction. So we don't have to worry about the cap circle. We are platooned up with a good pal, Swindle 321 in his T49 light tank. And there's 2 enemy artillery to deal with, and this matchmaking is tier 10. So on the Team Destruction, because of the way the maps spawn, it does give me freedom to take this ridge in front of us, where I can play hold down and use my good concealment to my advantage and try and spot the enemy tanks. The 3 enemy light tanks is a problem though, and the 2 enemy artillery is a problem, and that combination is not great for us, because if the light tanks just driving around like headless chickens, it's going to keep us spotted, and the artillery is probably going to focus if you see that shell already come in. Now this light tank I just really want to take out, because you can see why these players playing is going to be a real problem for me, because mainly because the artillery is going to be, I'm going to be detected, and probably the only tank detected, and the artillery is just looking to focus on us. I'm just trying to keep moving the best I can. Light tank is coming in for us. Can we track him in place is what I want to happen. We do, thankfully. Hopefully gets taken out by our team, and he does, and we lose only minimal damage in order to kill a tier 9 light tank. It's probably been well worth it. But we're not out of the woods yet. We're trying to dodge the enemy fun police from the sky. Thankfully we do, and at least that light tank being taken out might give us a little bit more chance to play a little bit calmer and see if we can spot these tanks on the hill. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am trying to use this rock here because it shields me from the right hand side, and just trying to spot tanks. Now I don't have great shell velocity, so hitting stuff at range is challenging. You need to pre-aim your shots, but we do pre-aim at that one pretty well, and we get that nice shot in there. Unfortunately though, we get detected for it. That means artillery is not going to be long looking to shoot us, and right on the button you can see he was targeting us there. So I'm going to move just in case he tries to put the shots into there. I was going to try and adjust my position, but a shot hasn't come in, which is nice. So I'm going to go back and just try and just spot these tanks. Enemy Centurion gets spotted. We put a shot into that Centurion there, but now right on the button, that artillery is looking to shoot us again, and I need to get moving if I don't want to get shut down from the sky. So I'm just trying to keep moving here. Thankfully he missed his shot, but there is two. I think it's only one which is shooting us, which is good. We do manage to pick up a good bit of assistance there, 1,800 assistance, and I'm just going to keep, it's one of those games where I guess the concealment comes into play, because I get to just try and light these hill and just with our covering tank destroyers to get shot in, and also we have two artillery which might be able to give some assistance. But each time I get spotted, you can see the artillery indicator going off that we're targeted by the artillery. I do like that addition because it allows us to try and move now and just try and keep moving. We don't want to be a sitting duck for the artillery. We don't want to make his life easier to get shots into us. We do just want to keep moving, even though it can be a little bit frustrating at times. Now this bat tank destroyer coming through the middle map is a problem. If he doesn't die, then he's going to have side shots into us, so that is a concern of mine at the moment. But I'm hoping he's going to be pushed, he's overextended too much, he's going to get taken out. There is a one-shot Centurion here. I'd love to get some shots in, but I've got to be careful of these stuff which are on the hill. Artillery again is looking to shoot us, so again we need to keep moving. So far we've done a good job of avoiding getting shot by the artillery. Obviously it's always going to be a little bit of RMG dependent, but we just want to try and make it as difficult as possible. We do have the lead here, but this is still a very, very tight game at this stage. Now, if we can get rid of the light tanks and their quick moving tanks, the longer this game goes on, if those tanks die, then the game will become a lot easier to play. But with those tanks in the game, it is, it's difficult. So, enemy Sturv gets spotted. Just hoping we might be able to get some assistance. We don't shoot because the time we shoot, he's going to be able to dodge the shot because of the slow shell velocity this tank has. So I'm just going to try and mainly just play as a scout. You can see I'm just trying to keep as much vision as I possibly can to give my artillery a chance to shoot things. Our artillery gets taken out. He kind of pushed to a really weird position, but we still have one artillery left to help us. Enemy artillery is trying to shoot us again, so again we're going to try and move. So far so good. He's not managed to hit us, but it's not for the lack of trying. Swindle has pushed up to this ridge. Again, he's going to try and spot some, see what he can extend some vision. It's difficult for him on this spawn, and the way the current teams are playing, like this chieftain on this ridge. He doesn't seem to be getting shot at. If he pokes up, I might be able to get a shot into that chieftain, but it's hard to shoot, when he's that far away. But he is now getting shot by the artillery by the looks of it. This light tank is a problem for me. Now, I kind of want to push up underneath their ridge, and then that will keep everything on that hill perma-spotted. But I just think, I don't know if I can make that play yet. But like with our TD, who's pushed up to C8, that's quite good for us, because that does give us an opportunity to push under the ridge, because it means if the tanks then try and full send us when we get there, then they'll get shot by those TDs. But it's really that light tank which has put me off doing it yet, but I am considering it, and I do want to do that. I might even be able to spot the artillery if I can get underneath their next ridge. Chieftain comes around, we try and put a shot into him. We do hit one, but just damages his track. Again, it's going to be difficult to actually hit him, especially when he's hold down there. We're going to unlikely pen him. It's you can't just snipe. There's no way you can snipe cupolas at that range. It's just lucky if you hit them, especially with the reticle. Like I say, you always need to aim below where you want to hit. So we're just trying to pull back now because the enemy artillery again is trying to look at us. We do have the lead, 10 versus 9. We started to pick up a little bit more assistance there, 2,400, but it has been a very slow game. I feel like all our damage in this game is going to come at the end of the game, but now I feel is my window to just try and get underneath the ridge. So I'm considering it, just try and get over there, because I just want to try and force this game and to try and get more damage. I know if I get there I can pick up a lot of assistance, but that chieftain is a little bit of a concern. So enemy light tank gets spotted. He's pushing in quite aggressively now. We look to see if we can get a shot on that TD, but he pulls back before we can get an opportunity. I'm going to move over just in case we can kill that light tank. That'd be a real key. Plus, if we can get rid of that tank destroyer. Chieftain is, keeping an eye on this tank here, and like I say, the pace of the start of this game is very slow, but it's just how we've had to play. But I guess it just shows the concealment of the tank, which is nice. It's just when you're using the concealment, it's not like a traditional tank destroyer, if you like. You do have that slow shell velocity, so you almost want to be close to the targets just to make your life a lot easier at hitting them. It's a 9 versus 9, but this Sturv, I think he gets tracked there, and we retrack him, and this is where this tank can be brutal, because we have him tracked, we know where we need to aim. Listen, the shots do hit exactly where you go in a straight line. You just need to aim below where you want to hit, and when tanks get tracked in the open like that, that's where this tank can be filthy. I guess it's very similar in a way to the Waffle E100, the way that you can just delete tanks like that, except for the Waffle E100's lightning accuracy and quick shell velocity, but it's got that potential, 2000 clip potential, and you can get that clip off very, very quickly. Enemy light tank is running around the open. Can we get any shots into him? This is going to be a really difficult shot, but hopefully one of our other friendly tanks can get a shot into them there. But now I'm getting to that point. You can see I was eager to go there, but I got targeted, so I kind of want to lose my spot before I push over to the ridge. But it is that stage of the game where we want to get over to that ridge in front of us, and that's when, if we get there successfully, you can see we've got our tank at the G sort of B9 now. It's pretty much over for the enemy team at this point once you get underneath this ridge, because you're just going to keep them all permalo track. Now this permalo spotted, this light tank comes around, we finish him off here, and yeah, at this point I'm feeling very, very confident. I still have a lot of hit points, 2,700 damage, 2 kills, 2,400 assistance, so we've got potential to get a good game here. I'm trying to get to the top of this ridge to see if we can get shots at that artillery, which was shooting us all game at A3. Love it to be able to get a few shots into that tank. I'm guessing the other artillery is probably at A1, I'll have a guess. Can we get any shots into that TD? You've got to be careful with the wide angle on the left. We are starting to pick up more assistance damage for spotting these targets. We are going to lean over a little bit and try and get some shots now into this enemy tank destroyer in front of us. We put 2 shots in, puts us under 3,000 damage. Then we pull back in. Unfortunately, Swindle does get shut down there by the enemy tank destroyer. But now a 7 versus 4. It's just about getting as much out of this game as we can. I know it's not definitely won, but it just feels, pretty good position. And now we're going to see if we can clip out this tank. And you can see I'm actually aiming for the floor just below the lower plate. I want to hit the lower plate. I need to aim just that little bit lower in order to actually hit the shot. So we're going to leave him on the 1 shot and hope our team can finish him off now, because we want to reload and get over here. We do get shot by the other artillery, but we're just going to try and push in and get the last bit of damage. We can eat maybe 2 shots. Well, no, yeah, probably only 1 shot off of this tank destroyer, but we're going to see if we can try and finish him off here. We get 1 shot in for the lower plate. We are 1 shot to him now. Can we kill him before he reloads? Unfortunately, I think that bounce killed us there, but we do at least manage to get that shot in and pretty much bring this game to an end. And we do have a decent end, a decent game. There's only 1 enemy tank destroyer left, but we finished that one off with, I think, 5,000 damage, about 3,000 assistance there. And how many kills do we get? 2 kills as well. Shame we died at the end, but we do still have a decent game. First class, high caliber. And that's it for the video. If you do like the content, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And as always, thanks for your amazing support, and happy tanking.
Enemy in sight! Hadouken!